very angry husband storming into my clinic one day and saying, ये कोई तरीका होता है, मीटिंग में हूँ और मेरी बीवी फोन करके बोलती है मेरा ओव्यूलेशन टेस्ट पॉजिटिव आया है, आप अभी आ जाओ घर पे. We have to do it right now, otherwise my eggs will die off. Well, it might sound very funny. However, to a couple who's struggling to get pregnant, this is very important. To time the perfect period to have sex to have a pregnancy, so that a pregnancy can happen, comes very easy to most of the couples. But to some, it is not so easy. So let's today discuss the best time to get pregnant. To understand this, we have to understand how a pregnancy happens. Women have two grape-like structures called ovaries and two tube-like structures called fallopian tubes on either side of the uterus or the womb. As soon as the period starts, there are tiny eggs which starts growing in each ovary. One of them in one ovary will grow bigger and larger in size than the rest of the others, and when it reaches a certain size, it pops out of the ovary. Immediately is taken up by the fingers of the tubes and it waits in the tube for the sperms or the swimmers to come in. Or if the sperms of the swimmers from the partner is already present, intercourse that has happened 1 or 2 days before, then the first baby is formed there in the tube. And then 3 to 4 days later, slowly the baby comes down, gets hooked to the lining of the womb and start growing. This is the time when a pregnancy test becomes positive. So what are the factors necessary for getting pregnant? Formation of the eggs and popping out of the eggs. In medical terms, we call it an ovulation, 1. 2, an open fallopian tube. 3, a good lining of the womb which can hook the baby or which can anchor the baby. 4, the sperms or the swimmers which are large in numbers and have enough power to reach from the vagina to the egg in the fallopian tube. The narrow window in which all these factors come together at their best is about 3 days before ovulation and about 1 to 2 days maximum after ovulation. Typically, this falls between the 11th to 15th day of the cycle for a woman who has regular period cycle of about 26 to 28 days. How does one know that she is ovulating? Well, 1. There are certain physical symptoms around ovulation. If one is alert, then she can take a note of. A little queer pain around the lower tummy. Sometimes there is a pain along the legs on one side. The breasts become fuller, painful, and very tender to touch. And the sexual drive is also interestingly high around ovulation. 2. The BBT method or the basal body temperature method. The basal body temperature is the temperature of the woman's body as soon as she wakes up, before even getting up from the bed or walking or brushing or even talking on the phone. So this temperature can be measured by a digital thermometer or special BBT thermometers which are available now. Typically, there is a rise of temperature, basal body temperature, by about 0.5 to 1 degree Celsius around the time of the ovulation. 3. The cervical mucus method. The mucus discharge from the vagina that a woman experiences changes with phases of menstrual cycle. So soon after menstruation, there are almost dry days or no mucus. Then the mucus becomes a little sticky and clumpy. This is the time when that dominant follicle is increasing in size. The third phase is around the ovulation, when the mucus discharge becomes very watery, clear, slippery and stretchy like an egg white. This is the time when one is the most fertile. 4. Using ovulation kits to predict ovulation. This method is based on the assessment of a hormone called LH or luteinizing hormone, which is supposed to peak or surge about 36 hours before the ovulation. It comes like pregnancy card, which has to be tested with a urine sample. It gives a single line when the LH peak is not happening, and it gives a double line when the LH surge or the peak happens. So the couple can plan their intercourse on the same day as the two lines happen, or 1 to 2 days after that. If one is using an ovulation kit app, then concentrate more on the sloping graph of the LH hormone rather than the absolute values. Please remember that all these methods to predict ovulation are subjective. They are variable and they depend upon a number of factors like activities, infections, stress, alertness, and of course, the regularity of period cycle. The more objective way of predicting ovulation or documenting ovulation is to do an internal sonography or a TVS or a transvaginal sonography. This typically starts from the day 7 of the cycle, and then it is done on alternate days or later on daily to see how the egg is increasing in size and how it is rupturing. So the rupture is documented clearly, and this becomes more objective evidence of ovulation. Nowadays, we have a number of apps which can actually track the menstrual cycle and predict ovulation based on your pattern of the cycle. This works quite well for most of the planning couples. So there you go. Don't stress. Don't freak out as the biological clock ticks away. Wake up at the right time. Be informed, chill, and enjoy the intimate time with your partner to have a healthy and happy pregnancy.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss any videos by us.